Welcome to the show. Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody podcast, episode 20.
Yay, we're here. We didn't do it in 2020, but after the year 2020 was, I think it's better to try in 2021.
Yeah, I think it's a good place to start up. New year, new shows, new episodes.
New life.
Yes. So we're going to get straight to it today. Joy, you want to tell the people what our show topic is today, what we have in store for them to kick off 2021?
Sure. Our episode 20, the title is I'm Home, So Are My Kids. Now what? I ask that question to myself every morning.
I ask myself that every morning, noon, and night. So we're going to start answering some of those right there, what we do. So we've come up with a list of 8, we think, useful tips or observations, and hopefully you guys feel the same. So number 1, home ain't so sweet. We can guarantee you the home that you purchased more than likely was never meant to be a place that you were 24/7. It was never meant to be the place where you lived, worked, played, eat, cooked,
worked out,
your gym. It was never meant to be that. You more than likely bought your home based on you being out of your home 10 to 12 hours a day, sleeping, maybe getting a single weekend day in the home, and then the other weekend day, your time was split as well. So now that you're here doing all of life's comforts and necessities, your home space isn't working for you, and you're not alone.
So to go to the title, I'm home, so are my kids. Now what? The question is, how do we get our home and our kids to come together? Like, now what?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we've noticed and that what we've been doing is, is making the home work, right? We've rearranged our home probably 3 or 4 different times, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? Because we need it to work for us and what our needs are. So I think as you go about your daily routine, it's okay to say, you know what? I spent 3 hours doing this, but it's not working.
Yeah. Now, because pretty much with the home, the main thing that I discovered that made me not pull out my hair, especially dealing with Chance and kids, is everybody needs a space. Not just the parents. The kids need a space that feels different, that doesn't feel, because they're in the house all the time. Whether, like at our house, we have a field, a random dog park field. We just walk to that field and kick a soccer ball around. Chance really got into that. It was shocking, but it just took him out of the home and gave him a different feel.
Absolutely. I think that was key. Our second point, you've now created a WeWork in your home, right? Your WeWork, your home is now a WeWork space, right? And it's not only a WeWork space for you, it's now a WeWork space for your wife and your kids.
Can you explain what WeWork is?
Yeah, so WeWork is a shared working space, right? So if you needed a temporary office or needed to host a meeting, WeWork was one of the leaders in terms of being able to provide a space for you to do that in a professional setting and in a major metropolitan or whatever area you needed to go to. So with WeWork and these public working spaces and these collab spaces, they were really starting to pop up because there was all this awesome real estate that had become available, and now it's not being used. So what you really need to start doing and think about a little bit is about setting a schedule and really allowing yourself to have a voice, your spouse having a voice, along with your wife. You also need to work to set boundaries along with giving yourself some time and some space.
Basically, I can only touch on a little bit more just the schedule. I realized that just usually in a regular time frame, or a regular time when it's not a pandemic, you really don't have a schedule that's set. Well, maybe you're that person that does, good for you. But when it was the weekend, for me, after working a long week, I didn't have a schedule like breakfast time, lunch time. We would you're more going with the flow. But since you have a WeWork space during the week, it's you have to have a schedule just like you would if you were going into work every day. And your kid, they really need that schedule. And I feel like for us, that was a turning point for making our experience a little bit better when we just like had a schedule. Like from this in the morning, you do your work with mama downstairs. In the afternoon, you work with Dada upstairs, and then you come back downstairs to mama at this time, and you have your snack at this time, and it really did help our home to feel like it wasn't a home during the work week. Instead, it felt like a workspace because of that schedule.
And then we understand, again, the flow is never going to be perfect, but it's what we're working with. So you just make it happen and let it do what it do.
Yeah, and when you said that you need boundaries, can you elaborate? When you said the boundaries with time, can you elaborate a little bit more on that? Like, what did you mean?
Absolutely. I think when you, especially for me, I have a job that has several, like mostly, conference calls and meetings. Matter of fact, 2/3 of my day is conference calls and meetings. But you're also dealing with the child who is on teaching all day, and then your spouse more than likely is facing the same thing. You need to proactively work together and identify your schedules and figure out who can cover watching the child and making sure that they stay on track and stay on course with their school, right? Who can, or how do you make sure that, hey, I have a very important meeting, I really can't afford background noise or distractions. How do we make that work together? Where do we place our child? What do we use to distract them? How do we make sure that they're actually in class and not doing whatever, or just spending time in the bathroom doing number two?
For 36 minutes.
Correct. Yeah. So I think it's really about like actually actively like, you're in a real office space, you have to schedule a conference room. Unfortunately, you have to do that same thing in your home.
Right. And you have to, when you're in a real workspace, people kind of can see your schedule and they know what's going on. Maybe there's a certain room that's like set up for meetings. But when you're at home, it's like, I don't know when I'm making Chance's lunch that Coley is on a work meeting. So I think it's like maybe either having a sign or something that helps each other know, like, I'm in a meeting, I can't be quiet. Don't, you know what I'm saying? So I felt like that was a struggle too, because I would just, oh, he's at work, he's got his headphones on, but he's like in an important meeting. So you have to take that time. Like we have little like meetings throughout the day, like, when are your meetings? When are your meetings? And like really talk about the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, now we're going to move on to the next thing, the next now what. And I think this one was an important one for me, which was differentiating with Chance when I'm in parent mode, when I'm the mommy, when I'm the teacher, and when I'm, I guess, the worker. I meant like his teacher, because I'm a teacher by trade. But I mean, like, just differentiating between the roles. I feel like that was a key to, like, I'm home, so are my kids. Now what? Like, it's important to it was important for me to say to Chance, like, mama's working right now. Like, I can't play with you. I can't, like, I don't need you coming behind me on my screen trying to be cute in my mirror right now. Like, I'm trying to work. Like, mama is working now. And then I also say, like, when I'm his teacher, because he would be trying to play around when he was in school, it's like, okay, I'm your teacher. I'm not your mom right now. I'm the teacher. I need you to focus, sit up, do what you're supposed to do. And then you can say, okay, mama's not working now. I'm not, and you don't have any work. Like, this is playtime now. Like, let's play. Like, I'm mama again. Because really, I noticed for Chance, because he's so little, he didn't know, like, he can't really read your mood. So he always thought, like, oh, I'm mama, but really I was in like work mode, or really I was in like instruction mode when I was working with him. And I noticed when I just like explained that to him, that did actually make a difference.
Yeah, I think too. For me, I spent a lot of time with him on the front end of the year, pretty much all of the time with him, right? And I think those lines have become even blurrier for him because he has less social outlets, right? So we are his friend. We are, we are his buddy, right? So with the lines being blurred, you have to expect him to get too familiar, right? Get too cute with what he's saying out of his mouth. But at the same time, I don't want to always be the one yelling at him or getting on him when he's messing up, right? Because eventually you become white noise. Normally, right, from 7:30 to whenever your kids get home, you don't have to be that hammer. Now you're the hammer 24/7, but eventually it just doesn't have the same effect. So we caution people just to watch out for that. We already don't believe in spanking and going over the top with it, and we see other people doing that, and I kind of shake my head. But now that you're in this situation 24/7, you have to find that right balance of being, what is it, walk hard but walk soft but carry a big stick, right? You want to make sure you're finding the right. You got to really pick your spots to really go in on them, because I feel that you can easily start to become white noise
Or
with
you
the
could,
amount of time you're with them.
yeah, it's like you're like a combination of the two. That's what I noticed. It's like you're
Mm-hmm.
either white noise or you're just literally crushing their spirit because you because you're with them all the time. It's so much easier to see everything they're doing wrong, and it's a lot easier for you to be like, dude, you did this yesterday. Why are you doing this again? It's easier to get frustrated with them a lot more quicker. So it's just imperative to just pick the battles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It is.
Next thing to think about if your kids are home with you is that patience is a virtue, and being patient, that all ties into being, when your kid is getting on your nerves, when your spouse is getting on your nerves. But we're talking about the kids. My spouse will never get on my nerves.
Hey, she's blessed. She really is. Maybe not realize it all the time, but she
Blessed
is.
and highly favored. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
yeah. But anyways, I would. Yes, I am. I would say that with your kids being home, it is very challenging to be patient. I know everybody's gonna say to you you gotta be patient, but it's hard. It's really hard to be patient, but it is important because they're just kids and they're still learning in a lot of ways. And then on top of it, they're learning in a new environment. It's I'm a teacher by trade. I am trained to kind of know how to manage kids, but I never was trained to know how to manage a kindergartner. So it's just trying to be patient, not only with your kid, but also with yourself. We're all learning. We're all trying to figure this out, and just keep in mind to extend grace to your child, because a lot of times what I noticed, I used to think because Chance would do the same stuff. I'm like, is dude doing this on purpose? Is he just doing this for attention? What is he what is this about? But I think it's important to just be they're a kid and they're learning and they're testing boundaries, and it's a new environment. So extend grace. Don't think that they have malicious intent, because 9 times out of 10 they really don't.
Yeah, and I think within that, within that patience, I think what I was saying a little bit earlier about understanding that, and to some extent, they need to exhibit patience with you, right? I feel like as a parent, you're not perfect. A lot of times they're highly engaged in their classroom. They're learning new things. Their teachers might ask them to do something that seems off key, and then you're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And you're like, "Well, my teacher told me to do this." And like, "Oh, well, that's not how you do that math." And then you go back and look at the unit, like, "Oh, that's exactly how you do the math, and you were doing it right." Or, "Oh, you are supposed to be dancing right now because you're taking a wiggle break because you've been looking at your screen too long, and they're trying to give you that break." So I feel there's a there's a lot more back and forth that happens, and I feel that the role of good cop, bad cop, you almost have to be rotate between the two of us on who's a good cop and who's a bad cop, just to really keep him on his toes. Well, I'm definitely the good cop. So, but when it came time to have that bad cop, he knew, it was oh, Dad is not the homie no more. he got it real quick. So I think it's just along with that patience is just understanding hey, they're trying to be patient with you because they're used to their teachers and their habits and their rituals, and you're kind of stepping on their flow. So you want to make sure that you're able to still maintain your boundaries, maintain some level of continuity and consistency while still seeing them flourish and grow.
Yeah, and patience is a virtue, which is another way to say, like, patience is a skill. It's not innate. It's something
Correct.
that you have to teach, and it's something that you have to teach your child. It's not just something they know how to do. But let's move on to the next topic.
Dame cinco.
Is that Dame Cinco like 5?
That mean, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
All
All
right.
right. So, anyways, the next topic is the letdown is real. Once you're home with your kid, they're going to let you down so many times. It's going to be like, dang, like, can you get this together? And the answer is probably no. Keep in mind, everybody is stressed out. The parent is stressed out, the teacher is stressed out, the kid is stressed out. They might not show it like an adult shows stress, but kids are really stressed out right now. They don't get to go outside. Their toys are starting to look, they're not even entertaining to them because they've been around them so long. Mm-hmm. So it's just like one of those moments that we just have to accept that we're all working through stress and we might show it in different ways. It's hard out here.
Yeah, and I think too, a lot of, as much as we're talking through all of this stuff, you guys might have been like, guys, we did all that back in June of 2020. Like, we on to something new. I think the reality is all these guidelines and tips and guides on what to do, they're all brand new. They're being written real time. I think the analogy I use at work a lot now is we're learning how to fly a plane while building it, right? And that's the reality of what's happening in the world right now. So don't be hard on yourself, and you're more than likely doing a great job. But just keep the balance, right? Keep the balance. Understanding your kids have, no one's been down this path, and it's okay to not, let your kids. I think it's okay to let your kids watch, Netflix for a little bit longer than they would in the normal world, just because, you know what? They can now explore new content. They can now find more educational stuff that's engaging. You can engage with their stuff better and turn those into learning lessons based off their school curriculum. There's a lot more things that you can do, or more non-conventional methods are becoming the norm as we're building this plane that we're learning to fly.
Yeah, and it's true that, even if they're a little kid, they know that stuff is different. They know mom and dada are worried. They know that something's going on in the world. So it's okay to just acknowledge it's a pandemic. Mm-hmm. I'm scared. Somebody got sick. I don't want to get sick. I just feel like this isn't the time to brush stuff under the rug because your kid can sense it. So it's just acknowledge the stress and what's stressing you out, because that might give them room to talk about how they're scared. Why they probably are wondering, why am I wearing a mask all the time? Just stuff like that. I guess it's a good time to just be open and talk to them.
Yes. Yeah. And you'd be surprised how resilient they are. I think that's the one thing, they're, in a lot of ways, they're more resilient than us, right? I think we hear about that about kids. Our son is blessed to be out of school, and, I hear them every day talk about adaptability, right? Oh, your laptop isn't working, or it's freezing. It's okay. Tell mom and dad, and maybe you log in on their phone for a little while. Oh, you can't find your math book. It's okay. Go get your whiteboard and listen, and we'll try to work out the math problems together. Oh, the teacher's internet went out. It's okay. You might have to go to mom and dad might have to circle back and look at the lesson plan and figure out how to do this new math. That you knew this, but I didn't know there was new math, by the way. There's a whole new way of figuring out what 7 + 3 is. It's a number bond followed by a
bond, family tie.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Look,
then you have to find the 10 and then circle it, and it looks like they're drawing a bunch of dicks all day.
Oh no! I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, it's messing me up. Yeah, I can't find the 10 spot. Oh my goodness. So.
Anyway. But I would say, too, it's okay to just be sometimes to say to your kid when something is annoying you. I've learned that what has helped me and Chance to get along, because I have very short patience, that's why I had the patience one, is I'll say, you know what, Chance, like, I'm not mad at you. I'm frustrated that my internet is going so slow. Or I'm not, because I think a lot of times dude thinks I'm literally mad at him when I really might be annoyed that all my students didn't show up to class, or some, it's something else, and I'm not really mad at him. So it's just as simple as like differentiating that. Like, hey, I'm really upset about this. I am not mad at you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's a good way of getting to number 7, with us really identifying that recess is now your new family time. That's the one time that you get out of your house. You're not really trying to construct a new activity. But it's kind of mandatory now, right? Because without that, the kids will never, ever, ever leave the house, right? You need to make sure you're getting your kids out the house at least once a day. We want to make sure that they're still active, right? I think, everybody struggled with not trying to put on that quarantine weight, and we saw that be very true for our children. Like over the summer, they lost, they got to work through and lose some of that weight, but we saw that our kids were putting on weight because they're physically not outside as much. There's no playgrounds to go to. It's hard to take a kid to a park and tell them, like, no, you cannot touch that swing.
Yeah,
and matter of
the
fact,
playground
that kid's coming. Yeah, that kid who's coming, walking up to you, let's make sure we distance ourselves, even though he looks fun and he has like a water gun. Like, no, you don't know where that water came from. So I think, but at least doing it together as a family, letting them get on their scooters, their rollerblades, or, in terms of what you guys are doing with your older kids, you still have to, as much as they seem uninterested, it's just that time getting out and being active. I think, Joy, we could talk about this a little bit together, like the idea of creating traditions, right? Wow, once a week has become very important for our family, right? So we think about recess as being time during the day that they would normally go out, get to play with their friends, act goofy, get their energy out, and then come back and continue learning. So you talk about, just as a family needing to create new traditions and family times. One of the fun things that we do, again, we're talking from the perspective of parents with 2 and 5-year-olds, right? We created Movie Island. Movie Island is our air mattress blown up in the middle of our living room, and we watch a family-friendly movie on Fridays, and then we normally have frozen pizza because that's the only pizza our kids like. They won't eat any of the Papa John's, or if you go to Giordano's, they want a frozen Jack's pizza.
And we have added on that the parents get a good dinner on Fridays, but I also think what makes Friday special is it like gives Chance something to look forward to. Like he looks forward to it, and it's like a movie. We pick a movie, not like some random movie, like Not to Rib the Cruise, or like not a movie that's geared only to like Chance.
Correct.
We try to pick a movie like that we all enjoy watching, and that we all like stay together and do. And I feel like those traditions, it's like that's our recess now. It doesn't look the same. It's not gonna be cookie cutter.
There we go, third time
cutter. And he's not gonna be out there like jumping rope or whatever we used to do at recess, playing Foursquare. But we just gotta make it work. That's it.
Absolutely. And I think too, Zoom and FaceTime is not the answer, right? We've been to several Zoom birthday parties. We've FaceTime with friends. Like those are okay, right? To feel some level of a connection, but you still need to get outside. You still need to just get them out there, even in the winter. Like let them trounce through the snow. Let them make snow angels. They still need some level of just engagement literally with the outside world. Get beyond the 4 walls of your home and force yourself to do it. It's easy to wake up and not do anything, but forcing yourself to get up and making your kids walk and skip, you start to look at things. One of the things with the school you're now being in, there's no field trips, right? So how are we going to reinforce some of these things or look forward to? You can still do your family drives. Again, 2 and 5-year-olds, we're happy to take them on a drive, and they're either going to fall asleep or be very fascinated that we just drove to another neighborhood or a suburb. There's nothing to do there, but it's just a different scene, and they're outside and they can roll down that hill and not touch other kids.
Yeah, and they also, I mean, like dance breaks, it might sound corny, but like just getting a playlist, like they really do like to just dance. I know we also show like old school videos that we enjoy. Like we went through Busta Rhymes phase and we show like every Busta Rhymes video, and like Chance and Bella just they got into it and it was entertaining for
Yep.
us. So I guess my main thing with when it says recess is a new family time, it's like make sure that whatever you're doing, you're going to be entertained too as the parent. Like
Right.
it doesn't have to be like all catered to the kid. Like that's when you start like about to blow your like top. Like it got to be something that
Yep.
that you're like make it work for you, and then the kid will just like get in line.
Yeah, and I think that I would say that's the most important thing to
Yeah.
walk away. Make it work for you, and they will fall in line. Free your mind, and the rest will follow.
Oh, okay. Okay. So also we just want to. We're almost through, but we just want to say our seventh point is the world is beating us up already. So you don't need to beat your own self up. That is something to remember. Like we already getting beat up. It's a pandemic. People's losing jobs. I mean, finances might be a
Yep.
little bit funny. People are sick. Like, don't beat yourself up too on top of it. Like, you gonna fall short some days. Your kid might be in their pajamas for 2 days straight. Like, your ass might be in pajamas for 2 days straight. Like, your kid might be on the, you might be in the meeting and be like, yeah, go on your tablet for 2 hours or watch TV for 2 hours or whatever. Like, yeah, I know they do say limit screens and yada yada,
Yada,
but
yada.
you gonna your ass, like we gonna
Yes.
fall short sometime. Like I would never allow my child to watch television. Like, nah, dude, get out of here. Like we're just trying to make it like day by day. They might eat 6 cookies, like, but just don't like start over. Every day is a new day to start over. Like that's my main. Like your kids are home now. What? Like first and foremost, don't be too hard on yourself.
Absolutely.
Like they don't know you messed up. Most times they really don't know and they don't care. They just want love.
And I think that's a good segue to our eighth and final point. We are in uncharted territory.
It's unprecedented. As they
Unprecedented.
say.
No one's ever been there. Your parents weren't there. Your grandmother weren't there. I don't care how many hills they walked uphill both ways.
27 miles to
I don't
school.
care how many miles they walked barefoot in glass. Like they had never had us for this many days straight. No parent, none of them had like I didn't do a day count because that would have felt
Don't
like
do it.
Shawshank,
Yeah,
right?
don't do it.
But I mean, we
Oh, shit.
we went from March to June with kids in the house every day. So in some ways, it's good because I'm appreciative. With the rat race that's capitalism, right? It's very hard to just see your kids in passing or in doses, right? So getting this extended time, I felt that we really, really got to know our 2-year-old, and I think for her, she was in Shangri-La. She got to be with Mama and Dana and her
Yeah.
little brother all day and watch Netflix and just go outside and hang out at home. She was in Shangri-La for this period of time. But I think when the older generation, they in some ways I feel they're lacking the empathy and understanding what it's like to have kids in your house all the time because you never had kids like that. All
Yeah,
the time.
a little judgy. Is that what you're
Very
saying?
judgy.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we can judge several things that you've done in your life, i.e. feeding babies water. Like, no, you ain't supposed to drink water when you're 6 weeks old. Like, no.
Nah, it's just like, dude, like we need like when we're saying like we need a break, like we really like need a break. Like young parents, like it's for real. Like this is like uncharted. Like there is nowhere I can go. Like I used to complain before this happened, like I don't have my own space, but now it's like for real, like
Yes.
I see the difference. And it's like even 10 minutes could go a long way, but it makes it harder because it's like the people who would have helped you or would have gave your child a break, like they might not be able to do so. So it's just try not to judge.
Yeah, it's not
like
the time
have
to judge.
empathy.
Yes.
Like put yourself in each other's shoes, and like what would be your number one tip to show like empathy from something? Like, what do you think that they need in order to do that?
I think for me, knowing, like, commiserating on a human level, right? Just saying, like, you know what? I did that too. Be honest, or you know what? I haven't showered in 2 days. We never did that just because we're in such close quarters, but just acknowledge that you're not living your normal life. You know, some people were built for this. Some people don't like people and just want to be in their house and they're happy with it. But in terms of showing that empathy, just be like, you know what? This is a tough situation. You're doing the best you can, and just saying that to somebody will go a long way, because all you're left with really are your thoughts and Netflix and the people in your actual home.
We did it.
We're back, baby. We're back.
Dame Cinco?
Dame Cinco.
All right.
That used to be on Sesame Street. I don't know about that, but you should, because you're probably running out of stuff to watch. So watch some of those classic.
Watch your old ones, yeah.
Watch those classic Sesame Streets.
That make you happy.
Yeah, make your kids watch crisscross videos.
Yeah.
Make them watch, all those videos that you were watching in the 90s. Play board games. Trouble. We found Double Trouble. We're about to get it. We made our son play Monopoly. Played what's that Palinka? What's the one with the marbles?
Palinka. I got Kerplunk, because that was a game I always wanted as a kid. Yeah. So I was like, fuck it, let me get it now. I'm 30s.
You know how long it takes to set up those little Kerplunk sticks before
the point is like, it was fun for me, and dude had fun.
We all had fun. We definitely had fun. Yeah. We did it as a family. So, through this all, we're gonna all walk away with new traditions, norms, and a closeness that we'll always have. I'm hoping our children look back at this time fondly, because they got to spend it with two awesome people. I know I got to spend several days with my best friend.
A long
98 long days.
I thought you weren't counting.
Approximately. I don't know the exact day count.
Well, are we going to stick with saying something we wish you would have known?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I can go.
Oh, please, yes.
Okay, well, we always in our show the segment called Something I Wish I Would Have Known. And I would say something that I wish that I would have known, especially during this pandemic and that's still occurring, is don't take things so personal. And learn, and that's a skill, to know how to not take something personal. That's not innate. Like, you have to mentally say, like, don't take that personal. Don't take that personal. Did I take that personal? And that means, like, for the good stuff and the bad stuff, don't take it personal. Someone says, you're a great mom. It's like, you should already know that. So you shouldn't, if you like eating up what they say, you kind of like taking it personal. And then if somebody says you're a shitty mom, like, fuck them. Like, that's their opinion. Like, don't take it personal. It goes like, or it goes both ways. Mm-hmm. So that's the main thing I would say. And then also with your kids, somebody said to me very recently, they said, the days are long, but the years are shorter. And I just feel like this is just going to seem so long in this moment, and then we'll get back to business. And then like 10 years will go by. You'll be like, dang, remember how we spent so much time together during the quarantine? Like, so just like try to enjoy the moments as best as you can.
Yeah, something I wish I would have known is obviously that there's going to be a quarantine, and
we are. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. You're welcome, and that's a show. No, I think you set goals and things you want to do in life, and there's different, whether it's fears or not proper planning to achieve your goals. I think this should have all. I wish I would have known that. Hey, you might want to travel the world. You know what? You might not get to do that anytime soon. And when you do, it's not going to be the same, or you're going to be in a max the entire time. So if you set goals, set a path to achieve those goals in as quick as amount of time as possible, because you literally don't know what tomorrow will bring. You don't know if you'll be able to ever go to that fancy restaurant you wanted to go to downtown. You don't know if you'll ever be able to go to Europe. You don't know if you'll ever be able to go to an all-inclusive resort with your wife without her being pregnant. With our first child.
That's never happened, yeah.
Yeah. So I think, Nothing's ever promised tomorrow today, as the great philosopher Kanye West
Oh no.
once said.
Nothing's ever promised tomorrow today.
I hit that Adam Levine note. You want the Kanye? I thought it was gonna go the other way, but whatever.
Hey,
But yeah, nothing's ever promised tomorrow. So set goals and find ways to achieve them, and the things that's gonna get in the way, fuck them.
Yeah, and that's our show.
Episode 20.
Episode 20.
We out.
What up? We did it.